Yo, what's going on today, guys? It is Rick and Ryan here for our first duo video on the channel, and we thought it'd be a great time to jump on in and talk about the playoff picture and what our projections are for the first round of the NFL playoffs. So, we're going to kind of just go through each matchup and see exactly who's playing who and kind of give you guys our projection on what's going to happen.
All right, so our first matchup, we're gonna talk about the AFC. We're gonna jump into the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I think this is one of the most interesting matchups in the first round. I think it's the most interesting matchup, at least in the AFC.
Really interesting matchup because it's two teams that we haven't seen really in the playoffs in a while and a lot of unknowns. Two young potential star quarterbacks for franchise quarterbacks for a long time, and sure, it won't be the last time we see them in the playoffs either, but we haven't seen either of these teams in a long time.
And it gets really interesting because Jacksonville's defense has played really good the past few weeks. Justin Herbert has kind of regressed a little bit this year. And the Chargers are also getting healthy. It's going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be a low scoring contest.
Yeah, I
And I
I
don't know who's
agree
going to
with
win.
that. I agree with that. I think it will be a little bit low scoring. I think defenses will show up because both of these offenses have been inconsistent throughout the year. But you know, Herbert did look good the past few weeks since Keenan Allen's been back. That's been a big asset for that
He's
team.
looked better, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say great by any means, like to the Herbert Sanders that some crazy people hold him to. We watched him at Oregon. I still don't think he's like the elite of the elite, but obviously everyone thinks he is. But I would probably have to lean towards the Chargers because I think they have a more like consistent run game in this one. What do you think?
I think the Chargers pull it out. I have to go to the quarterback play, and I don't think Trevor Lawrence is just there yet on playmaking ability. Like when it comes down to making a big throw, kind of showed in their last game to get to the playoffs. He just couldn't make those throws just yet,
Yeah,
even the
he
easy
misses
ones.
Zay wide open. That was bad.
So I'm taking the
Ugh.
Chargers in round one.
All right, I like it. I like it. So going into the second matchup here, we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens, division rivals. Very, very interesting game here. Honestly, if you would have asked me a week ago, I probably wouldn't even known the Ravens were in the playoffs because they've just gone under the radar. They've had a pretty easy schedule, and Lamar Jackson's been out. They haven't been scoring a lot of points, and it's a very interesting matchup. What do you think, Rye?
Yeah, I think the exact same thing. I was actually talking with my wife earlier today or tonight when we were looking at the bracket, and she told me the Ravens were in the playoffs and that they won 11 games, and I just didn't believe her at all. Like, I was shocked that they won 11 games this year because, like you said, they just kind of been lackluster since Lamar Jackson's been out, but they've been finding a way to win, apparently. If I had to go one way or another, so there is rumors that Lamar Jackson's going to be playing.
He
But
hasn't
that's
even
gonna
shown
be
up
a
to practice yet, though.
yeah, they
Like,
said there's a strong feeling that he's gonna be ready to go. Um,
so interesting. Not
but
showing up to practice for like
he's gonna
three
be
weeks and then just
rusty.
gonna show up and just play. I like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Joey B in this one. I don't think Cincinnati's been as good as they were last year because they went just got red hot in the playoffs last year in the end of the season. But they got the players to do it.
Yeah, I think they've been trending in the right direction, and like I said earlier, I think Lamar Jackson's gonna be rusty. The only way the Baltimore Ravens could possibly win this game is to just shut down that offense, which I think is near impossible right now.
Yeah, and Baltimore
So,
can't stop the
going with the
pass.
Bengals.
They can't stop the pass. It's the worst part of their defense. So
Yep.
I'll be very interested to see if they can actually prevent that by any means. So
So I think we both
Bengals,
agree
yeah,
Bengals.
Bengals on that one. All right, third matchup here we have Buffalo and Miami, another division game in the playoffs. It's so interesting how this lines up like this. What do you think here, Rye?
Yeah, it's super weird seeing all these division matchups, just teams that are very familiar with each other. I think this one is the Bills easily. They have like the whole DeMar story now to back themselves. They're playing for something bigger. Um, and I just think the Dolphins have fallen off a little bit. I think they came out hot this season. They beat a lot of bad teams. Tua put up some huge numbers against bad teams. They did manage to beat the Bills earlier in the season, but
Is there
kind of shown their true colors a little bit.
is there any chance that Tua's playing in the playoffs, or are they just sitting him out the rest of the year? I don't think he is playing because if he was playing, I would give them a chance because somehow when he's out there, Tyreek Hill finds his way past the defensive backs every single week. Like it just happens. So I think there is a chance that if he were playing, there's a chance. But I would really lean heavy on the Bills. I would imagine the spread's going to be at least 7 points. So, and it's winter time. You saw Tua in the cold, that cold game. It wasn't great. So even with Tua, I do not think that they can take out the Bills.
Yeah, based on what I just read, it looks like Tua wants to play.
Of
Undetermined,
course, he
obviously,
wants to
but
play.
yeah, 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 of course. But I think even if he does play, I think the Bills win. I think just
Yeah.
Tua's kind of shown that he isn't that guy yet, and the Bills are just way more complete team.
Yeah, as long as Josh Allen doesn't turn over the ball, they should win that easy.
Miami's defense is bad. All right, Bills.
Going over to the NFC now, we have probably the most intriguing matchup of the first round. We have the Dallas Cowboys and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Man, I would not want to be running into Tom Brady in the first round. They somehow got a fourth slot in this. So what do you think?
I was hoping somehow that Aaron Rodgers is going to back his way into the playoffs too, and have Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady just backing their way in, which would just be crazy. But this matchup's interesting. I think it's very interesting. Now Dallas just lost to Washington when they played their starters in Week 18, so that's got to hurt your confidence a little bit. If that didn't just happen, I was gonna take the Cowboys. I am This is probably the toughest matchup to pick, I think, because
Agreed.
Tom Brady in the
100%.
playoffs is just different, and the Cowboys in the playoffs is typically
And
not the
Tampa Bay's
best.
healthy finally. They haven't been healthy in a long time. So they're having their linemen back. Tom Brady's going to probably get a little bit more time.
Yeah, Vita Vea's back too. That's
Yeah,
like
defensive
the
line.
biggest piece on their line.
So
Yeah. If I
I-
had to pick, I'm going with the Buccaneers, honestly. I think they're a more complete team. All they have to do is really shut down the run game, I think, for the Cowboys and force Dak to throw, and I think Dak will,
dude,
as he has in the past,
I've
make mistakes.
I have picked against Tom Brady too many times in my life to do otherwise, I feel like, but I want to say Dallas has enough talent to pull this out. Dak Prescott cannot turn over the ball for like
That's the
a
thing.
6 straight week. Like there's got to be a
That's
week
the
where he
thing.
doesn't. So I think he has a clean game and I think they could pull it out. But Dallas's defense has to play good. We've seen them in big games this year, like the Monday night against the, or was it Thanksgiving or against the Vikings, whatever that was. It was a primetime game. Played really well. If they can come out and put pressure on Tom Brady, I think the Dallas Cowboys can pull it off. I almost said Mavericks. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so we're split on this one. I'm going Buccaneers, you're going Cowboys.
Yep, I think we're split on this one.
Cool.
Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings and the New York Giants. So, for anyone that doesn't know, we are Vikings fans. So,
Yes.
there will be zero bias here. I guarantee that. None. Zero. But personally, I think that the Vikings should win this game. We already saw this matchup a couple weeks ago. We have the easiest draw of the first round. The Giants, they're still really young. They're still putting it together. I mean, the fact that they even made the playoffs is a success for them, aka
Yep.
why they didn't play anyone to try to move up in the rankings today. And I think that the Vikings offense is just going to be too much. The only way the Giants, in my opinion, can pull this out is if we've seen it multiple times, can take over that first quarter and get a big lead. And then Kirk Cousins is going to have to come from behind. Other than that, I think the Vikings just find a way to win.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I agree that the Giants were the easiest draw in the playoffs right now. I do respect them for sitting their guys. Like, I think it was ridiculous to see, Kansas City playing their whole starting roster, the Eagles playing their whole starting roster the entire game. Like, when these games were out of hand, they still kept their guys in with the risk of injury. I respect the Giants and the fact of saying, you know what, we made the playoffs, was just rest for a week and then prepare for the for the Vikings. So I like that. I do think the Vikings win this matchup, but I think it's going to be tougher than people think. The Vikings, they just fired their defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, they literally just got rid of their defensive coordinator
Like,
in week 17 and going into 18. So, maybe their defense plays better and they can like actually show some dominance compared to like how good their offense is. But from Vikings fans, this will be a one-score game. It's going to come down to the wire most likely. I think they'll end up pulling it out, but at some point, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they get upset somehow. They're gonna have to have a giant game from Saquon Barkley to have it happen, but I think there's just too much star power on the Vikings offense to allow that to happen.
yeah, I think so too. I don't think Daniel Jones is that guy. I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. He's has played better this year, but I don't think he is going to make that big play at the end of the game.
I
Similar to
agree.
the Jacksonville and Chargers matchup, I just think in this quarterback matchup, Kirk has shown this season that he can make the big play if he has to. Granted, this will be a primetime game most likely, but I
Hey,
think
they find a
Daniel
way.
Jones
Yeah.
will find a way to mess up. And like you said, they just need to control Saquon. If they control Saquon, the game gets really easy. I do think the Giants defense is solid, but I do think Dalvin Cook's gonna have a big game.
Yeah, they don't have any wide receivers, like realistically. So, it really comes down to Saquon. If he goes
Yep.
crazy, that's what it is. All right, let's move on to the last one here. We have the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Another division matchup here. I personally think that San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the NFL right now. I bet you a lot of people can agree with that. Signing or getting Christian McCaffrey in a trade was probably the most aggressive trade we've seen in a while, and it's probably going to pay off for them if Brock Purdy can keep it together. What do you think, Rye?
Yeah, I agree with mostly everything you said. I will say the defense of the 49ers has shown a little bit of vulnerabilities lately. They got shredded by the Raiders with Stidham starting
Yeah,
2
but
weeks ago,
that's
and
him
then even this
showing
week, they gave up
no.
points to the Cardinals backups. So, I do think they've shown vulnerable
They got some spots in there that
aspects of
they.
their
I
defense,
agree. I
but
agree.
I definitely think they're very good still. I think basically here you've got a really bad defense in Seattle versus a really good defense in San Francisco. And obviously, San Francisco's offense is much more complete than Seattle's. Granted, Geno Smith, oh my gosh, I just went blank there. I forgot that he's even in the playoffs. Like
Oh
Geno
man.
Smith,
Hey, good
he's a
for him.
hero.
Good for
Yeah,
him.
good for Geno Smith.
The comeback
But
nobody saw coming.
yeah, but I mean, it kind of showed today against the Rams. It just they still are just a scrappy team, and I don't think you
Yes.
can be scrappy and beat the 49ers.
I don't think so either. And I just want to make one point on where you said there's some vulnerability on their defense for the 49ers. I just don't think they got ready. Like they didn't get up for those games the last 2 weeks. I think in the playoffs you're going to see that linebacker curve. Fred Warner, he's probably the best middle linebacker in football right now. It's just they're going to figure it out.
And Nick Bosa is probably the best defensive lineman in the whole postseason. He is ridiculous when he's hot.
Thing
And
with him that's different is that
when he
engine he has. He just goes. Like he never stops. And you see
yeah,
this. Usually, star players have that like short engine, like they just make the big play. He's there every single play.
yep. And he is young, he's healthy, and I can guarantee he's gonna pressure the crap out of Geno Smith.
Agreed. So I think that's at least going to be like a 11-point spread. I bet it's going to be a big spread. But that's going to be it for us today, guys. This is the first duo video we've done together in a long time. We used to have a YouTube channel way back in the day, and we talked a little sports, but we appreciate you guys for sticking around. If you guys did enjoy it, let us know in the comments. Definitely drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and we're going to come back next week and have another projection video for you. So catch you guys later. Have a great rest of your day, and peace.
See ya.